Hello.
Hi,
Welcome back.
to another episode of
The time is now where we're having a conversation.
About.
We're having a conversation today about Bahtyah choosing to be home alone. Thank you all for joining. And we love you all and we're appreciative to you joining. This is a great opportunity to say thank you for following us, for enjoying our content, and if you're not enjoying it, for being intrigued by it. And if it's not doing anything for you, then for just tuning in and sharing us with your friends and families and loved ones and people who may need to have these conversations. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit the red bell and subscribe so you'll be the first to receive our next episode.
Yeah.
And leave comments and engage us. Maybe it's a topic you want us to discuss that we'd be glad if it's a part of our journey to share, because once again, we're sharing our journey. And if it's something that you and your daughters have been through, have experienced, or you and your mom, then, allow it to meet you where it meets you at. Prayerfully is doing what our goal is, which is to open up a deeper conversation between mother and daughter.
Yep.
We hope to be a front room favorite for everyone. If not everyone, for those it matter to. Yes.
You want to start off with a question?
What we usually do as our opener.
You want to pull or should I?
I'll pull.
And this is from this card deck. It's Love Language, Better Language for Better Love. And it's 150 questions to explore deeper relationships, connection, something like that.
Wow, okay. So the question to you is, what's one quality you wish you had that you do not?
One quality that I wish I had that I don't have.
Yes.
Because my mind is telling me nothing.
Yeah, I guess you have all the
What
qualities
quality
there.
don't I have?
Right? Oh, good God. That's just...
I'm very confused by this question. Maybe, I don't even know. What are even qualities? Like,
How do we answer that? She's asking what are even qualities? What qualities do you have?
that's a good question. This is sending me into deep thought.
Is
But
there-
my mind is very blank.
Okay, well, maybe we should pull another one, and maybe at some point somebody in the audience can ask, what quality do you wish you had that you do not have? Want me to choose another one for you?
Yeah.
What change did you make in your life that you're most proud of?
Wow, that's a really lovely, lovely question. The biggest change I've made in my life would be just in my relationship with myself. Just overcoming a lot of challenges and traumas that I was just like, that I was sure, yeah, y'all had me for life. We was in there like this. And Basof, in the end,
You decided you was going to do what with them?
I don't know if I decided I was going to do anything with them. I think I just decided to keep going, and it sort of unfolded in the way that it did.
I reckon it's still unfolding.
Yeah, I think so too.
So ask yourself. These questions are open for everybody as well. These are questions you can ask yourself, your mom, your daughter,
Yeah.
or a friend or family member.
All right, and then now I'll ask you a question. Wow, where do you feel most at peace and ease outside of the home?
Wow, I guess I would say in nature.
Yeah.
I always feel just totally at peace, centered, and at ease. But that's a big question because I can say in my office,
Yeah.
public transportation when I travel, walking up the stairs I guess that's
That's
coming into
kinda,
the house,
yeah.
so that's kind of questionable. But basically, I was saying nature. In nature, I definitely feel totally at peace and at ease. Great question.
Yeah.
What do you feel the most at peace and at ease?
Yeah. That is a really good question.
Yeah.
Like,
All right, so shall we begin?
I think we have to.
All right. We don't have to. We can choose to, though. I'm excited to choose to. What gave you the desire, the courage, the tenacity, and the strength to choose to come home after graduating high school in America and volunteer to serve in the military when you wasn't sure that you would even be accepted, and to be here for a year without your mother, father, siblings here with you? What made you choose that?
What made me choose that? Man, I felt like just like people had served before me and made it so that I could live for as many years as I have lived here in safety. I felt like it was just my duty, I guess, to give back so that a whole nother generation of kids could grow up in, ironically enough, in stable or peaceful times, but you know how the ball rolls. And I left here when I was 14. We moved to the U.S. And so I felt like I had a lot of things that just were not properly closed, or I wouldn't even have known to close them at the time, or to just, it was just so much unfinished life here. And I don't think I could imagine like going into, and I'd already made up my mind. And once I made up my mind, I was going, like, it wasn't even a question. So when I got diagnosed with Crohn's when I was 15, and then you get an automatic discharge. And even when I saw that, I was like, all right, how am I going to be there? How am I going to do it anyway? And so it was a whole process and a whole journey of even figuring out if I could do it, of all the medical testing. It was a whole year almost before I went in that I was here too. And that was like a half a year that I was here alone at that time. But what gave me the strength to do it was just me, really. I set my mind to it, and it was like, I'm doing it. So whatever that means is whatever it means.
I love the way she just explained when she got that cancellation for going to the Army, how she was like, I'm just going to do it. This chick just bust out crying. And we knew she was getting a cancellation. And I cried, and she cried, and I went and brought her a gift to console her, because I was just like, I know this was your dream.
Yeah.
And
in general, I think, well, we're going to do an episode on that too, but in general, that was just devastating. But now that when I look back on it, I don't even remember it. I don't even remember that. That wasn't, I don't know.
That was definitely a moment in time for me, because I felt like she had a life interruption. And the Crohn's had interrupted her dreams, and us moving to the States interrupted her desire to have she always been real studious and just had dreams for herself of getting a 4-bar group, being able to do the psychometry and go right into college once she finished the Army. You know, life was kind of mapped out for her on an intellectual aspect and a service aspect to give back to the country. And the Crohn's
and life was like, no, mommy, you moving too quick, and you think you know something, and you must be very confused, love. But yeah, I didn't even now in real life, I don't even recall that. Like,
it's because, like she said, when she put something in her mind, she's going to accomplish it. So come what may, at 16, when she said, Ima, if it may have been even earlier than that. It may have been 14, 15.
I think I found out, and then I had a moment probably where I was like, I don't know. And then I just went straight into research, and I'm like, okay, wait, this is actually so possible. And so
she went into, if I choose to go to the Army and I get accepted, will you come home with me? And we was kind of freshly there. I was looking for any reason to come back home. Anything to say yes to being back at home where life was my safe place and my place that I love and feel most connected and most secure. And so, yeah, I was excited for her dream and her determination to want to come back and do the Army. However, her coming here and being by herself was definitely a challenge for me as a mom. And we understood the circumstances. You know, we had my youngest son who definitely needed me and needed a mother, and I wasn't ready to just pack up and leave him, so I had to split my time. But for the first year, I think she spent most of it alone.
Yeah. First and last year, that was like it was a sandwich, and it was just me. But yeah.
Tell us about the moments when you walked in a house and no one was home.
Oh, wow. Right into... Man. Oh, wow. That's deep. Especially coming from, I think, the home that we come from. Even in moving to the States and everything, it was like a very much like a front room kind of family chilling together. If it wasn't all of us, it was at least me and my brothers. So being here alone in this house, which is, man, at times very cold physically, and then coming home and it being like empty, it was so jarring. I think in that first year, it was just a whole new experience. This is before I was in the Army. I was in the Army. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a job. I was not paying a bill. I don't even know what I was doing. I was learning how to code and going to the library and taking all kinds of mini trips and adventures and just doing me, I guess. But that first year, it was hard, but it was just like when you kind of get into something new, so everything is new about it. So I think I just had a lot of space that I had never had in my life. And I think anybody who lives alone or has lived alone would know, like, it's really just you. It's like this whole house, and it's just me in here. So while it was like hard on one aspect, it was also really safe to just have a space that was like only me, that I could do whatever I wanted to do and break down as much as I did. And, you know, not have to explain it to anybody and come up with like it gave me a lot of space to understand myself a lot better, just me to me. And then I would say, like, when it was the second year when I went into the Army, then it was like I'm in a whole new kind of system. I'm in a whole new category. Everything is new. So coming home and it was empty, it was a little harder. Luckily and thankfully, I had friends who kept me company a lot of time. And man, shout out to y'all. Big ups, because there were seasons I'm like, yeah, something is going to have to give. And then I was saying this last year with the war, this has probably been like, and it was a full year that I was here alone, and it was like actually really hard. Like coming home, oh my God. Coming home, you done had a hard week or a hard couple of weeks, depending on what season we were in. You'd had a hard week. I come home, I'm like, I gotta do my laundry. I gotta make sure I eat. I gotta make sure I pack my stuff, wash my stuff, dry it. I have to make sure, basically, I just have to take care of everything in this small span of time. So much is going on in life and in the world, and it's like, I don't even know what's going on. And then to come into this cold, empty house, man, we had some seasons, me and these walls. We had some seasons for sure, man. But that's this whole year has been an experience that taught me so much about myself and so much about my own ability to take care of myself and to really be here for myself. And I think that everything that I had built up in myself the past 2 years, the 2 years before that, I had to test them. It was being tested. I'm like, oh, wow. Let's see how I really fare out. And at the end of that, this has probably been one of the best years of my life. Like, and that's crazy.
This year,
But last year. And that's crazy. But it was like just the amount of, I think, resilience that I had in myself, and just being able to know that it just got me through so many times. And then knowing like my Ima is just a phone call away, my brother is just a phone call away, and having friends and stuff that I could reach out to was wonderful. But it was definitely some times where it was like, I'm really here by myself. This is crazy. Like, where's my family? How is like all the people in the world, not all the people in the world, but some of the people in the world that I love the absolute most, that I love so much, that I know that they love me, that I know that if I needed something, they have me. And it's like not being able to be around them. And kudos to phone calls and all that, but it's nothing like real life. It's nothing like being able to come home after a hard week and get a hug. And it's just like, oh my God. So not having that, I'm here. Maybe I was hugging myself. I don't even know. I'm on the couch cuddled up with a hot water bag. But but
I think some of the most significant moments for me in the journey, the first year, was she kept a lot to herself. So whenever I would come home, she would tell me how the year was. Like, she learned how to self-soothe for the first time at 18. And that was like a huge to-do, because that's a whole nother episode, another process of her life that she just championed through, that just really showed me her strength. But when she initially told me about the self-soothing, I didn't understand the relevance of it for real until it would be like a year and a half later that I would find out the relevance of this self-soothing and how necessary and how important it was for her journey, and how many things that she had to deal with alone. Of course, everybody was telling her, if you need anything, we're here for you.
Yeah.
And come past my house. But it's a different story when no one comes to your house, when everybody's telling you, meet me at my house. And I learned that from my son, who did the Army, and he was a lone soldier as well. So we were very much more attentive to making sure that we were more present for her than we understood to be for the first experience we had for it. Shout out to Nate. Natan, we really appreciate you.
We love you, man.
You have paved the way.
Man, you pay on so many levels and platforms. I don't know how you did it, but you did, because I was out here with like, in comparison, I was out here with major support. I was out here with I was moving, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't imagine. I cannot imagine. So big ups to you always anyways, but definitely.
These children have been my greatest teachers, and what's so beautiful is that each one has given me tools to support the next one. So I always want to give them their flowers on helping me see things differently and understand things differently, and being more present, more compassionate and supportive for the journey. But if I have to say what was the hardest for me, I think it was the distance, the inability to give her a hug, the starting the journey off with her. Ooh, the day we went to drop her off for the Army. It's been some beautiful moments that were only shared between the two of us, and getting up early in the morning and not having a clue where we were supposed to be, and getting to the wrong place, and then calling and saying, oh my God, we at the wrong place. And all I wanted was, when they get to the gate and they got that backpack on, and you want them to turn around and you want to take that picture of them, that was like all I wanted. And we were so late. We jumped in a cab because we was at the wrong place. We got to the right place, and she didn't have time. They were waiting for her. And the only thing she had time to do was jump out the cab and say, Ma, I love you. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't get the picture. And there's just so many things that in the process So many small dreams or small visions that I had. Nobody knew about them now. Never shared them really with nobody. But they were just things in my mind as a mom that I thought were important or significant that I had to basically bury and then come back and process. So as a mom, I would like to ask you, what dreams did you have for your daughter that you had to bury and come back and process, or that you're still burying and you haven't come back to process? Maybe it was something so small that nobody would ever know about, but you knew when you held that baby for the first time, these were things that you wanted to happen through her life, and you missed the opportunity, or life just said, no ma'am, that's not the way it's going to go. Were you able to keep going? Are you holding resentment, judgment, guilt, shame? What you holding in that spot? And I would just offer you to hold some self-forgiveness in those spots and some self-compassion, and just know you did the best that you knew how to do at the time you was doing it. And even though the dream didn't happen the way you wanted it to happen, there's always an opportunity to recreate, an opportunity to restore a dream, no matter how big or small it is, especially if you share it with your daughter or your daughters, or if you a daughter with your mom.
Period.
Shall we ask a question? Or is there something else you want to share before?
We can ask a question. I don't.
All right.
What if we ask one and then we both answer?
Okay. We on the deck for family. So there's individual, past and future, and family. What an appropriate card to choose. What is the first thing you think of when you hear the word home?
Oh, man. When I think about home, when I think about home in real life, for real, I think about being at our old house on a Friday night, on a shishi night, everybody in the front room eating dinner and just having our moments and laughing and whatever it was, just being together. I think that's like, when I think of home, that's like automatically where it takes me.
When I think of home, I think of all of my children being young and what seemed to be kilo muvan me'elav, or how do I say that in Hebrew?
Muvan me'elav, like understood, aval kilo.
Simply understood and cherished. It was like it was the miracles that was happening. But I didn't know then that they were miracles. I didn't know that those moments would be home for us, that they would be the memories that each one of us, anytime you talk about Friday nights, it's like something warm come over each one of us. The week ended.
Yeah.
And we all ate dinner together, and we all did our chores, so everybody had different things they had to do, but we all came together. And I don't think the home was the actual home. It was us.
It was us together. Yeah, exactly.
And it was so comforting, and it didn't matter what we ate for dinner, even though everybody enjoyed that meal. And it didn't matter what we were talking about, because everybody had a part. Especially we used to do what was your highs and what was your lows for the week, and what happened to you, and everybody just had a moment to almost melt into the experience. And home was just home for us. Yeah.
Simply put, man, yeah.
Maybe another pointer when I think about home, what's the first thing that comes to mind when I hear the word home? It's flying back and forth. It's knowing that there's a place that is home to you. And just imagine the corona season and me making a promise to my two youngest children that no matter what happened every summer for summer, that we will be at home, maintaining a home in Israel all those years. And against the odds, we was coming back home to a home that was our home. We wouldn't have to rent from nobody. We wouldn't have to move in with nobody. And that was so significant for us to unlock the door, and we was home at our home.
Yeah.
And just being able to maintain that promise, because I'm telling y'all, it was some sketchy moments with the finances, but I was definitely
so good
doing work with God. He's my partner for life. those prayers and infusing in my children. Oh man. Anyway, I'm diverting. What's the first thing you think of when you hear the word home? All right. Tell about the days you called home to America to me when you was having those
Man,
meltdowns.
y'all. This is more having to do with the Army. This is more having to do with the Army, less being home. But it was days, my God, we had a little roof, and I was in HR, and I was just having all sorts of experiences, highs and lows, and I would go out to the... And man, this is real life. This is when you know in real life when you have somebody to call and when you have somebody to reach out. Because I would be having a meltdown on the roof and I'm calling my mom and I'm fully sobbing. I don't know what that must have sounded like on the other end. And mind you, like, I'm not going to say the issues weren't like pressing, but it was, I was definitely in my own loop with a lot of stuff. And I would just call and I would just be crying on the roof. I'm like, and then she would always know the right thing to say or how to calm me down or how to give me a different perspective. So it was always like you still have somebody to reach out to. You still, and if she didn't answer, trust I was sending 6-minute voice messages.
To wake up to.
I'm like, yeah, I'm the response. I need it. It's gonna come too, but I don't know. So I wonder, what did that feel like on the opposite end, receiving those calls? Especially like, let's say maybe we hadn't talked, and I don't know. Well, it was never that long, but I just wonder.
Well, I knew I had a role to fulfill, and I knew that if she made this choice, that it was going to be hard days before she went in. You know, I pretty much knew who she was, and I think the first time. It was like, okay, what's going on? And my job at that moment was just to assist her to be able to calm down, to be able to see more than whatever she was seeing, to expand her perspective. But first, it was just, tell me what the problem is. Let's talk through what the problem is, to give her an opportunity to really, really cry it out, to feel validated, to feel heard, to know that whatever it was she was sharing was significant and important because she was having that experience. And then once we got past that aspect of it, it would be, all right, what's going on with you? You on your cycle? Because I started noticing that it was the first time I didn't notice it, but it started being a pattern. And it would be a certain part of the month that I would get this kind of a reoccurring call, but different subjects, different topics. And so I would almost be like, oh, okay. It's the 3-week time span, and I never carried it like it was the 3-week time span. I always responded to it like we was in a wave, because that's always important to me. Okay, we're in a wave. Where are you in the wave right now? And I learned access material, so we did a lot of processing, and she's such a beautiful processing and able to allow the processing to happen. So I would do a lot of expansive questions, and I would ask her, did she want to process it? If she didn't want to process it, we didn't process it. It wasn't, I'm trying to fix something or get you out of something.
Yeah.
It was literally to hold space for her to be able to work it through with herself, because I knew how important it was for her to work it through for herself. And I just be there as a listening ear, asking questions, allowing her to say, why this is happening to me right now, but... And I would say, well, do you want to, shall we process, I don't know what's going on with me?
Like, I should have never.
It would be the simplest processing. And I would do my best to lean into no fixing. A lot of just, I'm sad because, okay, do you want to stay sad? Is that where you want to be? How long do you want to choose to be there?
Sad or mad?
Or mad. A lot of it was mad.
A lot of it was mad too.
But then, you know, as time went on and during the wartime, it was definitely overwhelming. She was totally overwhelmed by not coming home on her weekends, and she's the type of person who needs her own time. and her space to be with herself. So not having that was definitely a challenge, and just the hardships of war. Like however you spend the corn, she was in war, and she was a soldier in war, and she had a job to do, and she had to fulfill her assignment. It wasn't I'm tired. I haven't been home in 3 weeks, and now I'm going to go home now. She didn't know. It was a lot of unknown, and it was a lot of unknown for me as well. But I knew one thing that I knew for sure was that I was grateful that my daughter was whole enough to be able to make a phone call and process. Because she wasn't gray abandoned ship. It wasn't, oh my God, you got your daughter in the Army. How could you have her in the Army right now? You need to get her out of there. None of that was relevant nor existed. She was in the Army. She was going to be in the Army. She was not interested in abandoning her friends. It was being there. And they all have meltdowns. And sometimes I would call and we'd be talking to all the girls in the room. You know, and one time I called and she said, I'm reading your book because it's giving me strength. And it was just like, wow, that is just so beautiful. And just being there.
Yeah.
So for me, it was moments that it was very challenging. And it was like, oh my God, if I could save her, I would. I wish I was there to give her a hug. But the reality was that even if I was in the country, she would still be on her base and she would be by herself in those moments. And she had to go through her process. It was part
and
of
I
her
went through the
becoming.
process.
Right.
The process was had, y'all. Start to finish.
Beautiful and messy. Because that's what processing is. It's beautiful, it's messy, it's scary, it's unknown.
And you keep going. You find out, like, you're fine. Mommy, you are okay. Go to sleep. Take a shower. Start the next day as fresh as you can.
And be present.
And be present
Be
for
alert
whatever
to-
it is.
Yeah, and be alert to yourself. Don't run from it. If it's happening through you, it's a reason it's pouring through you. And it's only trying to release itself. It's
Yeah.
not coming to attack or harm you.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Even in that war, I'm thinking about that. And this was just so... this was so significant to me. This was just such a change. This was a... Oof. So I had this whole thing in the Army where I would always wash my... I don't know. The laundry situation with me, oh man, if you know, I'm not the one. It's just I can't manage it. I gotta find me a system that works, because for the past 3 years I've been doing my best. It's the only thing I could do. But so I would wash my clothes, or I would hang them out to dry, and they wouldn't dry in time, and I would just like put them in my bag. Then I would go to base and I would hang them up in my room. And at a certain point, that was just a regular thing for me. Cause I'm like, I can't even manage doing all of this. This is just gonna have to be the way this works. So then, I had a home visit, and they gave me like a stipend, and they gave me money to buy a dryer. And there was a dryer at a supermarket that was near my house, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get the dryer. And I found myself, I'm like, who can I ask to get this dryer for me? And to me, this is like a crazy thing. Like, this is a big ask if I would be asking anybody. And I'm like, man, if my email was here, or if my brothers were here, like, it would just already be like, that wouldn't even be a question. I wouldn't even have to consider this. And that was into the war, and that was into life. And I'm like, I'm out here by myself. Man, what am I gonna do? So initially, what I did was a whole lot of nothing. I'm just like, man, how am I gonna get this dryer? And I realized in myself, I'm like, this is kind of crazy that I don't feel like I have anybody to call. And I'm just like, I'm trying not to really ask my Ima, because I'm like, man, she is going to push me to figure it out. I'm like, man. But it was really like it was moments like that. It was moments like that I felt like, I'm like, oh my God, I am really here by myself. And then until I finally reached out to one of my friends.
To me first.
Yeah,
Eva,
obviously.
I got a dryer. I don't have nobody to help me bring the dryer home. I said, well, nobody? That's kind of...
I don't have nobody. I can't ask nobody.
I said, first of all, did you ask your granddaddy? I mean, like, he will move mountains for you. I'm sure that's not too big of a request for him.
I was trying to be considerate. I'm like, man, I don't want to put, I'm like, yeah.
She figured it
I was
out,
moving
though.
all kind of different. Thank you, Saba. He ended up being the I was doing all of this pivoting, and he ended up being the one to bring it anyway. So I was so thankful, and that was a last minute, last moment, and he was there to be able to help me to do that.
Always there to help her
Yeah.
to do so many things. Taking her to her infusions.
Yeah.
And my mom, like, just knowing
Yeah.
that she had the weekends with them and that they will come over here and check on her periodically and call her and just make sure.
Yeah, and I was going every Friday night to dinner. So that was always like a nice soft landing place that I knew, all right, cool, I'm going to go to my Bahtyah house, decompress a little. And friends that I would go to all the time. Y'all know who y'all are. I love y'all very bad. Yeah, there were definitely times. But it was times where, oh, man, I was having a time. I was having a time. I had too much fun. I was in this house doing whatever I wanted to do on my timing. I wasn't thinking about anybody. So that was nice. That was refreshing. Man, I'm like, remember the times, man. But like, let's say one time, one of my cousins / friends was at my house for a holiday, and we ended up inviting one of our other friends, and then she came through with her boyfriend, and then it just turned into a whole, like, everybody kind of thing. And it was so nice because it was so unexpected and it was so random. And it was like a time where it would have been like, oh my God, it's the holiday and I'm here by myself, or I'm here, and it's just us. And it turned into something that was so beautiful and so fun and so magical that wouldn't have happened if I wasn't just here alone. So there were a lot of very beautiful, beautiful, beautiful moments of self-discovery, of friendship, of connection, of just good times. But also the reality of, real life. And being like 18, 19, 20, 21. I'm like going through a whole roller coaster of like life even. And I'm back in Israel. I haven't been here. I haven't lived here in 4 years, and I'm just in some whole new alternate reality type life I'm living.
And as we wrap up, if you had to do it again, would you do it again?
I would do it again 10 times over. Man, it's nothing like it. And I would say, man, to anybody, any young woman, period, live alone. Live alone. You just have to do it. Have your season, have your time where it's just you. You get to see yourself so clearly. You get to witness yourself, good and bad. But you get to just have so much clarity and so much. For me, it was a lot of safety in just this being my space and me knowing that when I unlock my door, my house is going to be exactly how I left it. For better, for worse, but it's going to be exactly how I left it, and that my things would be exactly where I put them. And like, it's a whole, I think it's really beautiful. I think it's really beautiful. I think it's a really beautiful experience that everybody should have, honestly. It might not be fitting for everybody, but it's just like wonderful.
And I would like to take an opportunity to thank everybody, big, small, indifference, any difference that you made, sending prayers for her, checking in with me and her dad, her siblings, about her, all the aunties who helped take care of her, who I can call and say, oh my God, she needs 1, 2, 3. Can you please make sure you give it to her, to the community care package in the while she was in the Army, to the meals that somebody gave her on the way, to the homes she went to her friends' homes, to Dra who looked out for her and the
For
friends,
sure.
and Dra Ella, and
For sure.
Para me, and definitely Dra Kasaja and Sarah, like Safta Bahtyah and Sabay Akim, and just the comfort that it gave me knowing that there were people who were in place to love on her, to Dra Nehara. I just really, really appreciate all the love, all the concern and care, the kind words, the moments of just checking in on her, the birthdays that I missed, to the Bitula for the surprise birthday, to, you know, to the Nagila. It was just so many hands in the process of her being here for these 3 years that made the difference. To the Amsa, oh my God. How could I even, and Maya, Amsa was like the phone call away. I mean, she was the chick for me. I could just call Amsa and say, hey, your daughter is coming home, and I think she left the refrigerator open, and she don't have no food in it, and it might be a mess. And she would just come. She got a key at one point and was just like, I'm a girl. No, her mama should be here, so I'm going to be her mama. And she would come home sometimes, and she would just fold up all the laundry. And it was just, I just can't thank you all enough for the ways that you showed up in her life, and the moments, the hugs, you still here? Oh, I'm proud of you. How's it going for you? It might seem like it was something small or insignificant, but it was everything for a mom who was away from her daughter. So thank you.
And I thank y'all too, big time. And there's many, many more people who have helped me, knowing or unknowing to y'all, just in this whole process and in this whole journey. And I'm so eternally grateful. And you have a space in my heart so big, so big, so beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Let's end with a question.
Yeah, let's end with a question. Let's see.
We should take it
From what deck would you like to?
We're Not Really Strangers.
Let's go. We love this We're Not Really Strangers one.
This is our one.
And if y'all know me, I love it too, man.
I think I want a level 3.
I was going to say, they're back there. So they have it like level 1, which is perception, which is like maybe for people that you don't really know that well. Level 2, and then level 3 where it's more, you know.
So this one is a wild card, and play a round of rock, paper, scissors. Winner can ask partner anything. Loser must answer.
Okay. I don't like these wild cards. I never have. All right. Ready, set, and wait. How do you play? Wait.
Ready, set, go.
Wait. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. That was a little.
Yalla.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. I won.
Okay.
Now I have to ask a question.
You can choose one if you want to.
Yeah, I'll do that. I never my mind goes, oh. Give your partner a compliment you don't think they hear enough. A compliment I don't think you hear enough. I'm trying to think. Man, I don't really care if you heard this enough. But I don't know, my bad, y'all. I can't. These wild cards, they stump me all the time. But I think that you are a phenomenal woman. Time and time again, I think that you are incredible in just the way that you go and your ability to start fresh and to start new and to make basically something out of nothing every time. Powerful.
Thank you.
And so then you could give your mother or your daughter a compliment that you don't think that they hear enough. That's a good one.
So I think I want to give you a compliment that I don't think you hear enough. And because I think really you won the game, and I think I was supposed to. I think we played the game maybe backwards. So
Maybe.
a compliment that I would like to give you that I don't think you hear enough is that you truly are an inspiration.
Oh, wow.
And you inspire me to be a better being. And you're just an inspiration.
Oh, wow. High compliments. Well, thank you. And thank you guys for tapping in and for watching it. If you made it this far, we really appreciate it. And yeah.
Drop us some comments.
Like, comment, subscribe, share.
If it's relevant. Only if it's relevant. And remember that we are here to discuss our journey and our relationship. And prayerfully, it is opening up a bigger conversation in your living room, in your bedroom, in any space that you
even in your head.
In your head, yeah. On the phone with your daughters, even if it's just with yourself for now. Give yourself permission to have a bigger conversation. One love.
One love. Bye.